Hey, my name's Anthony O'Connell. I'm a man with a high voice and a podcast. We do a feast or pass, rate it 1 to feast, great dining experiences, and more. Hey, Upper Feasters, just want to say we do have some audio quality issues in this one. I apologize about that, but the content is great. I 100% believe in this podcast. I think it's really fun. Sam of Macho Taco Food Truck, he's a really cool dude, super nice, delicious food. We talk about the top 3 Columbus, Ohio restaurants. I tell him a story about stealing a shift from an underprepared coworker. Sam told me that he chooses restaurants that have Mountain Dew. I think that's awesome. He used to work in corporate sales. He learned how to cook from his family. His Italian family reacted to how he started a taco truck. A new employee fell asleep during their shift. Unpopular food opinion, Sam doesn't like Rooster's chicken wings because he thinks they're not crispy enough. Do you have a top 3 restaurants in Columbus? Like if someone were to come to Columbus, what are your top 3 suggestions?
I think the first restaurant that pops in my head that I absolutely love, but mostly because of their sauces, it's Arapazzo, specifically in Gahanna. It's Cuban food, I believe. Like, if you were to put one name on it. And they have whoever does the grilling, their meat is just flawless. And then if you try their sauces like that, I would buy their sauce by the bucket.
Nice.
So I think that's probably one of my favorite ones. And they're not. I mean, I think they have 2 or 3 locations, so it's not like they're small, but they're definitely. I don't know if it would be anyone's first choice, but I bet if they came to Columbus and tried it, they'd really be happy that they did.
Is that place under the North Star umbrella? I feel like they are.
Oh, I did not know that. I know that Brassica is. I know
Maybe that's
that
what I was thinking. Maybe I was thinking Brassica.
Brassica is actually really good too. I like them a lot. But I can see her positive being. It does have, like, now that you say it, they do have kind of the same classy take on food, and like even it's hard to explain, but you can just tell because like their utensils and like the way that their takeout food is boxed, like just things like that. They put like a little high class step in some of that stuff. It's not a styrofoam box.
Right, exactly. I used to work for Third and Hollywood, which is part of the North Star family, and everything there has to be perfect. Like literally, like
So good.
it is. I'm a big fan of it, but it's funny. I don't know if they do this anymore, but like 6 years ago when I worked there, the servers, you had to have everything perfect. Like you had to have 6 pens and it had to be a certain type of pen. You had to have everything had to be perfectly ironed and crispy. And they did this thing where you could steal shifts. It's called sharking a shift. And if someone wasn't prepared, like say they had 5 pens and I come in and I'm scheduled off, but I have 6 pens, then I get to take their shift,
Oh, nice.
which
I
is
like
hella
that.
aggressive.
Yeah, it's aggressive, but I bet you get the person that wants to be there the most and make the money the most. It's pretty cool.
Of course. And right before I moved to New York City, I was saving up and I told everyone, I was like, you guys better come correct because I'm stealing all the shifts.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
need
if you
this.
guys
I need this money, and I want it more than you. You better show up ready to go.
exactly. And when I moved to New York, I worked at a restaurant in Times Square. And if they had a policy where you could steal shifts, I think New Yorkers would fight you. Like, I don't think any of my coworkers would be cool with that. Like, I
That's
think
so
the Midwest charm made it okay, but in New York, they don't play that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say in Ohio that might fly, but yeah, probably not there.
No, in Manhattan, no chance. Like, I really think you'd be in a fist fight. Like, no
Yeah,
exaggeration.
that's hilarious. And whoever won the fight, they get the ship. Did you ever try the bacon wrap dates? I'm sure from Third and Hollywood.
Oh yeah, dude, those are phenomenal.
They're so good. I still think about those like weekly. I don't even know why. I haven't been there for like a year. I need to go back. Yeah,
Dude, I'll go feast with you sometime. We can go feast. It's the end of times, but we can go do that. You have 2 other places. We kind of went on a tangent. Do you have 2 other places that you love? And if not, we can just move along.
it's so hard because I love so much food.
We can make it more specific. Like, what if someone wanted tacos that were not from you, or maybe like Mexican, like quesadilla, burrito, whatever? Like, do you have a
Okay.
number one taco in Columbus besides yours?
Okay, I like that. So I think one of my favorite places, but believe it or not, it's for their unique sauces, which I guess of course you believe this, but unique sauce, but it's for a different burrito. It's the barbecue. You can get any protein you want, but I think I got steak. It was like a barbecue steak burrito from Chili Verde. Have you ever been there before?
I haven't, but that sounds awesome and interesting.
I think the original one is off of Bethel and Sawmill. It's like right across from the bowling alley, and I think they have like 1 or 2 more now, which I haven't been to. But that kind of scares me. Like I said, to like go to a different place that like it's not like the one where like the owner like operates out of. I love that feeling. But yeah, it's a Mexican barbecue sauce, so it's kind of almost like a fusion, which I love. and it's one of the best things. I know they won a couple awards back in the day when they first started for it, but I would highly recommend it.
That sounds delicious. And personally, this might even be an unpopular opinion. I don't really value authenticity. Like, if it's delicious, it's delicious. Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm not opposed to authenticity, but I just want it to be good.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah, I would definitely put that on your list. And you know what? I think if I were to pick, I just like the speed, the staff, the environment, and the drinks. I really, after a hard day of work, after a hard week of work, I could definitely put back some margaritas and eat some chips and queso and just relax. And I think, in particular, I used to walk to the one in Gahanna. So I think basically what they call it, Creekside local cantina. Is it my favorite taco? I don't know. That would take probably, we'll do that on our next call because I'd have to think about it. But I think they have at least so many different options, no matter how you're feeling. They got an Asian inspired taco. They got a Nashville hot chicken taco. So you basically can kind of, whatever food you're feeling, you can get it in a taco. And on top of that, they have really, really good drinks.
What's that Italian place over there? Maybe it's like an old, I don't know why the audio is sounding weird. But it's like an older couple. They're an old Italian couple. It's by Gahanna Pizza Plus.
Gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And they actually are really delicious. I had gnocchi for the first time there the other day. And I forget what they're doing. It's like two people's names. I think it's something in Anna. I want to say Anna's one of the names.
But that place is delicious. You've had that place?
Yeah, I think they're the only like authentic Italian place in like all of Gahanna that I could think of actually. And they kill it.
They really do. Let's start something fancy here. How about foie gras, feast or pass?
Can you give me a little bit of a description for anyone that might not know about it?
Of course, yeah. So it's basically like a fancy pate. It's like a fatty duck liver. It's kind of polarizing in the fine dining world because they force feed the ducks and they make it be super fat on purpose. I think it's delicious. It basically tastes like animal butter pretty much, but it looks horrible. That's why you'll never see it on Upper Feast Instagram, but it tastes amazing.
I don't think I've ever had it, but I kind of like to eat, and test out new foods. I'd be 100% feast. You got to try it at least once. It sounds like it would be delicious.
I think probably the most out there food I've ever heard of would probably be like tiger penis soup in Japan.
Oh.
I don't know I guess I would probably try it. I don't know. Would you try it?
If it's edible and especially protein, I like proteins. I think it's all about the way that, especially like if you think about it, this is probably something from like a heritage that we know nothing about. So like I'm sure that they have techniques to make it like, if you were to try it blindfolded, you wouldn't know what it was. So I think, yes, I would trust them, and I would go for it.
That's fair. I mean, I feel like if you eat a hot dog, you pretty much eat literally everything anyway. So
right.
If you ever eaten a hot dog, I say go nuts and treat yourself to whatever.
I agree. That's funny.
We'll move 1 to feast. It's like 1 to 5, but we say feast for fun. Taco Bell as a place, 1 to feast.
I would say feast, man. Like for fast food, as long as you order, what is a little bit better than some of the other things on the menu, and it's cheap, fast, easy late night food. If you're, because sometimes I get out of work pretty late, so my options are kind of limited. And if I don't feel like cooking, they got good hot sauces. I really like heat, so I like that part a lot. And if you wrap anything in a Dorito shell, it's pretty much going to taste decent. So I'd say
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. It's super good munchy food. My order, I'll usually do like a chili cheese burrito, cheesy gordita crunch, and then I'll do just 1 regular taco to keep myself humble. Just 1 regular hard shell crispy taco. That Baja Blast is clutch.
Yeah, any place I swear, the more places should have Mountain Dew. Because it's kind of funny. I actually choose where I'm going to eat sometimes, just depending on if they have Mountain Dew on draft. So I feel like that's something that like people should realize. Like it might be worth the money to have. I don't know if anyone's ever said that, but
no, I've never heard that before, and I love it. This is a safe space, so please keep saying stuff like that. Like most people are like, yeah, I need like a really fine red. If this restaurant has like a Camus Cabernet, I'm there. You're like, dude, if they got Mountain Dew, I'm on board.
I'm in.
Hey, I love it. What's your fave of Mountain Dew? Just tradish?
Yeah, I think just straight. I used to serve like way back in the day, and I'm not much of a morning person anyways, but I remember the Mountain Dew, the fountain Mountain Dew would save my life a lot. And I think that's when I fell in love with it, probably when I was in like my late teens.
When did you go from server to back of the house? Because I'm assuming you didn't go from server to owning a food truck, right? You probably were a cook or a chef somewhere.
Yeah, so I actually don't have much like corporate cooking experience. Most of mine comes from my family. It's more of like an Italian from Sicily. Like I'm second generation, and it's mostly just from like learning from other chefs and cooks that have like all the actual like learned experience.
With the Italian background and heritage, what made you want to go the Macho Taco route instead of something more tradish?
We knew we wanted to have a truck, right? But we didn't know what the concept was going to be. Like we started off with the Hulk sauce. Hulk sauce was the beginning, but it kind of goes good on everything. It's good on pastas, especially like Mediterranean food, and then of course tacos. So we were playing around, and we would have taste testing. So we would have people over, have 10, 20 people, feed them. We would do something slightly different in both areas, but almost the same thing, and have them taste test just to see if anything was worth the change or the ingredients. It was so much fun. But no matter what we did, we couldn't get away from everyone loving the tacos the most. So it's like it just kind of won every single time. Like, and I think it's one of my favorite foods too. But the flavor profiles kind of came from us not being able to decide between Mediterranean and Mexican. That's kind of why we did like the fusion of both, which is nice because it's unique. So we didn't really have much competition in that area as well.
Dude, I love your Hulk sauce. It's super delicious. It's an avocado-based sauce, correct?
Correct. There's a little bit of a jalapeno base to it too, but it's so funny because there's so many things in there that cut the spice that like even if you have the one we call the Little Hulk, you wouldn't even know that there was any jalapeno in it because you can't tell. It's almost more of a flavor than it is a heat, just when combined with the other ingredients.
Hey, just wanted to say thank you so much for listening so far. If you're liking it, please subscribe, tell a friend. If you're loving it, please give us a 5-star review. In my experience with Italians, they are very passionate about their food and they have very strong opinions about their food. How did your family react to you not making traditional Italian food? Like, were they supportive of that?
So that's a really interesting question because my family, they're all cooks, but they actually wanted me to go more the corporate route because at the time I was doing the corporate sales job. So it was kind of mixed feelings. Like, are you sure you want to not do that and like go try to start your own thing out of nowhere? And like, and then on top of that, yeah, like why isn't it Italian? We've been teaching you these recipes your whole life,
How dare you betray us, right? They probably felt a little hurt.
It's a funny question. Like now I think they've all come around because they're like, oh, this is good, they're kind of old school Italians. So it's just a little bit of a different world for them as opposed to us being, born and raised here. We've had kind of like the smorgasbord our whole life of choices of food. And so it's definitely like a little bit of a different world, but yeah. I think ultimately they're coming around, which is good.
What was it like when you made the jump from a soft, cushy corporate job, making that leap into the being your own boss, being your own food truck? Like, what was that like?
The two parts. First of all, obvious answer, it's amazing. I love being able to do everything that I'm good at and put my heart and soul into it and have everything come back to something that that you own, that you have your heart just like branded into, Wouldn't change it for the world. I've been the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. The only part that I hesitated for was we actually had a launch party scheduled at Pins 2 weeks after COVID started. So basically, I didn't know that everything was going to completely change. The whole world was going to be flipped upside down. And the funny thing is, though, if you do try to run your own business, and people tried to warn me, but I'm like, oh, I'll be okay. But like there's so much stuff that you have to figure out and you have to just be able to adapt and kind of overcome because there's so many obstacles and just random things that get thrown at you that you've never expected. And you just have to kind of roll with it and figure out a solution, So I think it almost helped me because if it would have been cushy in the beginning, I would have been misled because it's a lot of work and there's a lot of things to figure out. So,
dude, I think that's really commendable how Corona happened and you didn't just like become bitter and angry or just succumb to fear and being like, fuck it, I'm out. Like, I think it's really cool that you stuck through.
Yeah, we kind of got saved by the community a little bit too. The neighborhoods were kind of trapped in their house and they weren't happy about it either. Nobody was. So they would book trucks to feed their entire community. And to me, I was like, well, I would tell them up front, we're kind of brand new. We haven't had a whole lot of experience because, everything's closed that we were going to do. I was like, but if you don't mind us coming and have kind of like a soft opening with you. And we learned so much. Like in the first month, the first time you have a line for 2 straight hours, you have to learn a lot real fast.
I believe it, man. Especially like with inclement weather, I bet people are really in a rush and they have no chill, no patience probably. Before you started your food truck, have you ever been a boss of someone before?
I was doing just sales, but I wanted to take on a leadership role where I came from. So I was actually running a store But same thing though, it was a real small crew. It was only I was one of five. So I had a 4-person team, and so that would have been technically the first. I think that actually I never thought about, but that probably helped a bunch because having such a small area where obviously it helps to be friends, it helps to get along because like there's not
Right.
a whole lot of space to move, and you're constantly either reaching over somebody or bumping into somebody, so it definitely helps to like each other.
Of course. So when you're the customer, when you go out to eat, what do you consider to be a great dining experience?
I think if I could immediately just off the top of my head, the best dining experience that I've had, it's a little Mediterranean place called the Olive Tree in Hilliard, and it's like really authentic, great flavors. I love it, but I think the part that made it different, the food is great, but the part that set them aside in my head is just that the owner actually came out and like sat at the table with people and just talked, and he was super enjoyable. You could tell his whole heart and soul, like so passionate. I think he made it, like I just feel like that feeling of just knowing that it's someone's like they're just it's their dream came true, and like all they want to do is feed you. It's an awesome feeling. Like you can almost taste it in the food, I think.
You can definitely 100% taste that. Like if you and I had the same exact ingredients, right? And you were making it for Macho Taco food truck and I was going to try to make it for Upper Feast at home, I think yours would taste better because it's your dream and your passion. And also you've had more experience making it, but I think your love would shine through. I really believe that.
I appreciate that, man. I think that's awesome.
Have you ever considered making like a fun, sorry, I keep going back to your ethnicity, but like a fun, like Italian inspired taco or something?
I've never really thought about, it's almost like mixing work with pleasure. I've never really thought about taking that part and putting it on the truck, but I like it though. You might have to have a special just for you, maybe.
Dude, that would be sweet. Like a chicken parm taco. I feel like that could be a hit. Or maybe like super munchy. You could maybe do like a beef ravioli with like a bunch of cheese, wrap it up in a burrito, like a burrito ravioli or something.
Oh, dude, I
Now,
love raviolis.
me too. Now I can just hear my Italian followers cringing because they hate if I do anything like not 100% tradish, they hate it. I remember one time I posted carbonara and people from Italy were leaving me the meanest comments. They're like, my grandma's spinning in her grave. Like, this is offensive. You're a dumb American.
Dude,
I'm like,
Italians are pretty intense.
they really are. They really are. Would you ever want to have a physical space, or are you loving the food life, the food truck life?
I just really like to move around. Like, I think the part about the corporate job that was hard for me is just being in between four walls. So, I mean, ultimately, I think it'd be really, really cool to own one. I don't know if I would ever work in it. So it's like, I really like the traveling part, the different scenery, going to different breweries, going to different neighborhoods. It's something different every day. And I get to feed somebody that's like in a totally different area, like, different community. I really like that part. I think I'd like to always kind of be traveling, but ultimately, like we said, if we find the right people, maybe a standalone store would be in the near future.
That's cool. I think you should try to sell your sauces. I feel like you could have those in the grocery store. I think it's really delicious sauce.
Oh, I really appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. I'm
Yeah.
like a huge sauce guy, so that means a lot.
So when you cook for comfort and you're trying to chill out and vibe, what would you say your most comforting meal to cook is?
I've always been like a self-proclaimed grill master. I really, really like to make like ribs and homemade chicken wings and steak on the grill. Obviously, the chicken wings and the ribs take a little bit more smoking and baking, time ahead of time of the grill. I just love how everything is caramelized, finished, and and have the grill marks on it.
Hell yeah.
I mean, if we had a party, I would make all three and be the happiest person. I would cook for 8 hours just so people could eat for 30 minutes. I think that's my happy space. So.
I'm into it. I suck at making chicken wings. I love chicken wings. I've made them probably 10 times. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it to the experts. I'm just going to go buy it from someone else. But I can cook other things pretty good. I think I'm pretty good at cooking a steak, but that's just knowing when to flip it, I think. It's not too much. Not too much.
It's a good meat, man. Like if you like protein and you get a good slice of steak, I mean, you can almost do nothing to it if you just give it some grill marks and you're good to go.
So how does this food truck life work? Say you're feeling lazy and you want to call out, or something more serious. Maybe you're sick, you're under the weather. Do you call out? Like, how do you just cancel the thing, or would you send your partner? Like, how would you do that?
I was actually feeling under the weather, I want to say probably 3 months ago. And this was probably one of my favorite parts so far of like the truck journey, is that I had to trust, because I didn't want to cancel, because this is like our spot. We're there every week. So I had to trust my basically my assistant manager and our order taker to run the truck all by themselves without me there. So it's kind of like, this is my baby. So it's kind of like oh my gosh, you're gonna drive the truck for the first time. We haven't had this talk. Like, we have, like, I think you could do it. Like, you seem totally capable. It's just nerve wracking. So I love them to death. They have honestly, because I went through a couple of people, which actually have a really funny story for you if you have time, but a couple of people where, like, yeah, they had the skills, but maybe not the connection, right? And ever since they came in, it's like we've been brothers and sisters the whole time. I mean, we run it really well. They have great experience. They're awesome cooks, and I just feel super comfortable. Still pretty nerve wracking though to have them go without me. But from what the manager said, because we have been doing this for, I want to say, like 4 or 5 months, every single Taco Tuesday in a row. So they kind of knew our food. They knew the routine. So I asked them, how they didn't know I wasn't there. It's like, how did it feel? They're like, oh, everything was perfect. I was like, cool, because I wasn't there. So that's really nice to hear. Like,
Nice.
it makes my heart happy. So yeah, it's only happened twice, but they did a fantastic job.
And how did you meet these people? Are they friends or family or?
Oh, great question. So I did have some friends and family working on the truck when we first started, so I found some good staff. But no, they actually were Indeed application. One of my favorite parts is that he was a donut baker, and so he wanted to own his own donut truck. And I'm like, well, I don't have that, but maybe you can learn the ropes, see what it's like to actually run a truck, and then I'll help you live that dream whenever we can, and I think we both just kind of fell in love with running the food truck.
That's cool. So what was some of the fun stories you said with the riffraff employees, the former ones?
I don't know if it's necessarily a fun story, but it is now. So, like, basically, if you were to ask me, so I think I've heard you ask sometimes because I watch you, but like, say that you asked me my worst cooking experience. Basically, I was brand new. I want to say this is our first month. And this was one of our neighborhoods, except for it ended up, I didn't know this, being one of the biggest neighborhoods we were ever going to have. So I had a person, she worked one day with me and she did great. Tons of experience, worked for an awesome, pretty, high class restaurant. She was a prepper, a cook. I mean, there's everything I needed. And it was just her and I, which is, I always roll with two people at the beginning because we were brand new. So that was fine. First day she came out, everything was great. We had a nice night. It wasn't too busy, but she did great. Second day she came out, I was thinking the same thing. I knew this was a little bit bigger shift, but, I had good feelings about it. So we started, and I got a little nervous right away because we had a line of like 10 people. Like, right out of the gate, it's going to be busy. You just get that feeling, right? And so we haven't seen that very much yet. And but I'm excited. I love when it's busy. Like, I get pumped up. I'm ready to work. Let's do this, So she's working at the cold station, building stuff, and I'm like, hey, I still need that salad. It's like our third order. And I turn around, and she's not moving at all. And she was snoring.
What?
She fell asleep standing up with the ingredients to finish the salad that I needed in her hands.
Oh my God.
I was just like, I tapped her on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like, still need that salad, right? so that's all right. Let me know. So I'm going back to doing what I'm doing, and then I get an order of, it was a different order than I asked for. I think it was, oh no, okay. So she made the salad, and then I needed an order of tots. So the tots were next, and that's kind of that station too. So then the same amount of time went by, and I'm like, still need those tots. So then I look over, and she's completely asleep, and she's making a salad, not tots. So I was like, oh God. I'm like, so basically, I have to have you get off the truck because I'm literally worried about your safety. Like, at this point, I don't know what's wrong. I'm asking you if you're okay. You're not telling me. You're gonna fall and you're gonna hurt yourself. Either that or you're the best stand-up sleeper that's ever existed in the history of the world. Which so far she has proven to be. But I'm like, yeah, this, you have to get off. So she goes and kind of sits by a tree, and then I'm like, all right, so now I'm by myself. I got a line of 20 people.
Oh my God.
No idea that, like, I don't have any help or what's going on. And it's kind of one of those things where you just have to be like, what can I do about this right now? What are my options? And am I gonna tell everybody, hey, I'm by myself? It's gonna be a million years wait, or do you just man up and go as fast as you can and just do the best you can and apologize to every person when they get to the window?
Yeah.
So, like, we ended up having one of the best days we've ever had in a neighborhood. And I did it all by myself. I swear, the day after, I felt like I got hit by a truck. Like, the truck is, you've seen the size of it. It's like, basically, it's not too big, but when you're all by yourself, it's a lot of skating back and forth,
Yeah.
And so I think that was probably the worst, but then somehow the best, because it was like, wait, I could do this, because we were brand new.
I wonder if she had like a drug problem, or maybe she had like, was it epilepsy where you fall asleep or something? I don't know what the word is, but
yeah, I asked specifically about that. And she kept saying that she took the wrong medicine, but I was talking to some friends and they think that, yeah, maybe it was a drug problem. So I don't know in the future if drug testing will be important or not, but this is the only experience so far that I have with it. But yeah, I mean, I wish her the best. Like I gave her a whole week's pay.
That's really nice.
Yeah, just like, she did great the first day and it didn't work out. She was the sweetest person in the world. And I learned that I can do this under pressure. I mean, she gave me like I would have never tried to do that by myself if it wasn't for her creating the situation, so.
Yeah, you know that you can overcome adversity. And I was a server, and if I get 6 tables at once, which I feel like that's kind of what you were in, I run around like a chicken with my head cut off, but I have someone bringing the food, someone cooking the food. But you did literally everything. That's truly mind-blowing and truly impressive. I commend you.
I really appreciate it. I would never want to do it again.
Yeah, once is enough to prove that it's possible, but it's not ideal.
I'm too old for that. It's too much.
Do you have any unpopular food opinions?
You know what? We both love chicken wings.
Mm-hmm.
I think my unpopular decision is, or I guess opinion, is that I really do not like Rooster's wings.
Oh, wow.
I know they're huge.
Yeah.
And by the way, I eat there because I love a lot of their food. And so I do like their wings, but let me explain. So I like toasted, I like crunchy, I like crispy. Like I just like that texture. And I'm not overly, but like, especially in a wing, like you get a nice crispy wing that has good sauce on it. It's good to me. Their wings are the only ones that I wish I could take home and either air fry or grill or bake because their sauces are great. The chicken is huge, but I just wish that it would have that one last step.
That's fair.
Eat leftover roosters. They're always, in my opinion, better. So like that's not a bad thing either because I love leftover food. But yeah, I know I probably would get yelled at for this, but that's just how I feel.
No, dude, that's fair. My stepbrother, he has an unpopular food opinion. He does not like leftovers. I think that's super weird. I love leftovers. Do you eat out a lot? I know you're probably pretty busy cooking on the truck and stuff, but would you say that you eat out a fair bit?
Oh yeah, I'd say yeah, I'm kind of always in a rush. Like I feel like no matter how much you think you're good at time management, there's a lot of work and sometimes it comes out of nowhere, So yeah, I'd say at least one time a day I eat either fast or just sit down to relax. Give myself like 30 minutes to just not be moving at the speed of light or cooking, But yeah, I would say yes to that question. I'd probably eat out at least once a day.
Do you have a top 3 Italian dishes?
I always like making manicotti because we have kind of like I wouldn't say authentic, but I guess it does come from Italy, in a roundabout way. But I guess it just comes from my grandma. So it's basically lasagna, but without the sausage. And then so it's like just cheese and sauce and like flavor. And then the noodle is kind of like a tube. It's like a small cylinder. So it's kind of like lasagna, but I guess less heavy.
Yeah.
And then like speaking of leftovers, I swear the second day it's even better, and the third day it's even better after that. Like it just keeps getting better all the way up until the last day it's good, So I think that's probably my favorite one to make.
Dude, pasta gets better the next day. They get to know each other. Like a soup or a pasta always is better the next day for sure.
Heck yeah. And chicken Alfredo, and I mean basically any of the classics I really like, but I think raviolis are probably my favorite one to eat because I always toast them afterwards or air fry them. So it's like you make them like normal, but then you always kind of crisp them up with some sort of like a sauce to give it some extra flavor. Like I'm getting hungry just thinking about that.
Absolutely, man. Air fryers are so fun. Like it's just such a simple thing, but it's like it can elevate your frozen dinner. Like I like to put in some pizza rolls in there, and I make like a little grilled cheese where I put both breads down, put the cheese on, and then I throw the thing in the air fryer. Then I put the pizza rolls on the grilled cheese. It's madness.
Yeah, if you like a nice crispy texture, it's like it's the fastest, easiest. You can clean it in like 3 seconds. Like it's just it's super. Especially if a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have time to cook. It's like, dude, you could throw something in the air fryer and go do something else, and it's just done when you get back. Like it's
right. You have air fryer time, bro. Come on, you're not that busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, hey, I feel like I asked you everything I wanted to ask you, but I always like to ask my guests if there's something I missed, if you're chomping at the bit to say something. Now's your time to shine.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't wait to be able to get back with you and talk again, about some of the things we wanted to elaborate on. And I'm gonna start thinking about the best taco. Maybe we can go on like a little once a week. We'll go try a new taco and see. I think I think my favorite new taco truck, which they're actually going on the like the Birra, it's BIRRIA. Have you done a lot of reviews about the Birra taco? Cool. So like I love the style. I think it's awesome. I don't know if I'll ever make them because it's so opposite of like it's kind of the opposite of what I guess the grilled cheese burrito isn't very healthy, but most of our menu is pretty like clean and like even the fried tots is like the only thing we fry.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a different way of creating a taco. But they're called Las Tapias Tapias Las
Agaves? The place in Clintonville?
It's LAS space TAPIAS.
Oh, probably.
Tapias?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know that word, but that sounds delicious.
Yeah, dude. Las Tapias, we'll go with Bira. It's a truck. They move around, but I think each week they kind of stay in like one home base. I would put them on your list because they have, this is like honestly right up both of our alleys right now. They have a taco that's literally made out of fried cheese. So there is no tortilla. It's just a fried cheese shaped taco filled with just amazing ingredients. Their meat's awesome. And then their sauce that you dip it in, like stew almost.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, I know it's not probably very good for you, but I could eat it every single day.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say like if you were gonna try a new taco when you're from out of the area, I would say give them a shot for sure.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. That's the podcast. Please subscribe, tell a friend, and give us a 5-star review. Thank you so much and have a great day.